Whether you realize it or not, the content that you consume can and most likely does have an effect on your mood, your mental health, all of that. Okay. So in this pod, I'm going to share with you the simplest tricks that I have used that have completely changed my life. They have changed my digital habits, all of that. I'm going to share that with you right now. Let's go. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to Mother Me Crazy. My name is Ari. In this podcast, I share my motherhood journey, my self-discovery, self-development journey, and a whole bunch of other things, honestly, that I find interesting that I think you might find interesting. So, yeah, welcome to episode 2. Let's jump in to the conversation for the day, shall we? In the last 4 to 5 years, I have taken and tried different methods to help me get to a healthy place with what I consume in the digital world. It wasn't easy, and I didn't really recognize for a long time actually that my mood, my thoughts, my feelings, etc., were attached to what I consumed. But after doing some more consuming, and seeing the research and listening to others' experiences, it kind of all made sense. It kind of all came together. The light bulb, like, ding, went on. In the last 2 years specifically, I feel like I have almost perfected my digital space and I have experienced mostly positive and welcomed content into my little digital sphere, if you know what I'm saying. So let's jump into these things, okay? The first thing that I did was start from scratch. Okay. Some people are not open to this because count, analytics, whatever. But I found freedom in starting a brand new Instagram account. I wasn't sure at first why, but it honestly was like starting a new job or starting at a new school, moving to a new city. You kind of just get that new slate. And on my old Instagram account, my followers were people that I knew from my past, school, church, family, and while social networks are supposed to be social, sometimes I know that knowing that people from my past are being updated on my life and they're following along is kind of pressury for me. So the long and short of it was that I was just too bothered by what other people thought about what I was doing. So starting a new account really allowed me to start to associate that new space with better thoughts, less fear, less stress, all of that. The second thing that really helped me out was to keep in mind and remember the algorithm. What you interact with most likely will be shown to you again. Okay, so especially on TikTok, the more you watch, like, comment, whatever on the content you encounter, the algorithm is going to assume that you want to see those things again. So I'm not a big commenter, but I will totally let a video play all the way through, even though I don't actually like it. And then sometimes I actually walk away from my phone and then I don't even realize it. And so then I come back and it's like, oh, you've been playing the same reel for like 15 minutes. Okay. That's going to sound weird. This is going to sound weird to you guys, but just protect your account. Like, doing all of that, you have to be like really self-aware. It's kind of like your your Netflix experience. I don't want anything jacking up my profile. Okay. I don't want anybody's weird movies that they watch randomly. Look, your social spaces should be like your Netflix profile. Protect it, okay? The next thing I did was unfollow, mute. And I mean, like, do a deep cleanse, okay? Back in the day, my college roommate used to unfollow people on their birthdays because that's when Facebook would kind of highlight that you were following or you were friends with this person. So you'd see it on the like sidebar of your newsfeed. And I used to think this was wild. I used to be like, girl, are you unfollowing people on their birthday? And she's like, yes. So little did I know at the time, and little did she know that she was influencing my social media habits literally to this day. So obviously, most platforms do not do what Facebook does, but I do try to recognize when I interact with a post from an account why I follow them. W- Do I like their content? Like, are they bringing any value or positive vibes to me as I scroll? And honestly, I will say it does take some self awareness, as I mentioned before, when you're scrolling. But if you're as serious as I am about protecting your digital space, then it shouldn't be too hard. Last thing I want to mention related to this topic is that spending a lot of time online means lots of exposure. And honestly, if what you're putting out into the world doesn't add or positively add, I should say, to where I am in my life, you gotta go. So I mean like unfollowing. You know what I mean? Like you could be creating content around lace fronts for dogs, okay? But if it's triggering to me somehow, or even if it brings up negativity in me, mute, unfollow. There are no hard feelings. I wish you the best, but I just have to live with myself. So I need my space to be healthy. Um, I've had actually people call me or text me and be like, "Did you unfollow me?" I'm like, "We have not talked for the better part of a year, but somehow you were alerted that I unfollowed you." This is a wild time, guys. We're on to our next segment, which is called Binge Worthy. I'm going to use my phone for this one because my children have stolen my eyesight and I can't be seeing things sometimes. Okay, so first up, I talked to you guys about Unprisoned, which is a Hulu show with Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo. I have to say, I do like the cast on this show. I do think that each person brings what each character needs. Like Kerry Washington, obviously, we all loved her in Scandal, but I'm not sure I'm like her biggest fan in this show. Me and my friend were just talking about this. Like, it's kind of hard to see her be this kind of like iffy, not necessarily problematic, but just like her choices, like, oh girl, like, ooh, okay, this is a different kind of character for you. And I like that. And I like not liking a character. That's like a favorite thing of mine is I like to not like this character in the show. So she's kind of like that. She kind of dibbles and dabbles with my feelings in that. Delroy Lindo is amazing in this. He's very convincing. He feels like the granddad in this. And then also her son, Phineas, is a great character as well because he feels relatable. He feels like, "Oh, I can see, or I had a friend like this in high school, or I was this person in high school." And he kind of feels like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand him." A few things I didn't like about the series would be the pacing and then their like teachable moments. They had a full episode where they described negrescence to us. And while I did not know what that was, it kind of felt um educationally and I didn't really necessarily want that for my dramedy, if you will. I like when writers write lessons in without letting us know that they're trying to teach us things. So in this particular episode, they kind of mapped out the phases with like on-screen graphics and text. And I felt like it interrupted the flow a little bit. So I didn't necessarily like that. I did like the dynamic between Delroy Lindo's character and Kerry Washington's character. I felt like you could tell like they were from two different worlds but still related. And obviously being a woman, I recognize that dad daughter dynamic. So there were times where you really felt empathetic towards Delroy Lindo's character because you could see like he's just trying his best even though he's made a ton of mistakes. And then you can also understand Kerry Washington's side because, she's like, I'm not trying to be hurt by you anymore. I don't want to do this with you anymore. And, if you're a girl who has daddy issues or has not maybe had a close relationship with your dad, you totally understand that feeling. So, with that, I definitely enjoyed the show. I don't know if I would give it like my highest rating, but I'm somebody who is just going to watch the show to support the blacks. So, with that being said, let's move on. Second show that I'm going to talk about today is Ted Lasso. We're 3 seasons in. If you're new to the Ted Lasso world, it's on Apple TV. Yeah, it stars Jason Sudeikis and really a whole cast of new characters that I had never heard of. And I have fallen in love with each and every one. So, this show is about a basketball coach who becomes a football coach. Football is in soccer. And he flies all the way over to London to coach an actual professional football team. And so it just kind of tracks his life as a coach and how influential he is. But then there's also that dynamic of his personal life. And honestly, the writing is amazing. I'm a sucker for good writing when it comes to TV shows, and they just hit the nail on the head every time. They're they reference Black culture appropriately, that it's actually funny, it's actually accurate. Like, it's all of the things, but then also you kind of get a look into the world of football, European football, British football, and I really like it. It made me feel like maybe I should go see the football team, soccer team that's located in my city because I might get into it. So I really like that show. It's easily one of the top 5 shows for me of all time, and I love a feel good show. This is a show where the lessons that they're trying to teach us are not blatant. You know what I mean? It's more of a conversational topic. It's like, I wonder why they did this, or maybe they did this to show us this, to show this character arc this way. And honestly, I just love it. If you cannot tell, I love that show. I would recommend it. I think we're halfway through the 3rd season. There's only 10 episodes per season, so you could easily catch up if you wanted to. Ted Lasso, 10 out of 10. It's a good watch, guys. If you're down for a new show, go for this one first. Go for this one first. Last show that I have been watching is Bel Air. I think we're like 5 or 6 episodes in. I could be wrong, could be less. But this one's on Peacock. And I fully enjoyed the show. The first season was solid, it was bomb. The second season has gotten off to a good start. There were a couple moments where I felt like it's kind of slow, like it's not progressing how I want it to. But I really wanted to highlight Coco Jones because she's amazing. Let's just talk about her, okay? I didn't even remember her from Disney Channel. I knew her face, but my husband had to remind me, like, that's Coco Jones. She was in, I can't remember the name of things, y'all. I'm a Black mom. Don't judge me. I can't remember people's names. I can't remember things people were in. My memory is shot, but I knew her face. Coco Jones is like really acting her butt off in this. Like, let's just talk about her. I prefer her outfits this season as opposed to last season. I mean, wardrobe department is doing so well just in general, but I really, really like her outfits this season because I feel like I might wear that if I might have worn that if I wasn't somebody's mama times 3. So I so I really enjoy her acting. I feel like her character has a bit more of an arc this season. We're kind of seeing her more serious vibe, her acting wings kind of just like stretching out. And I mean, there's really not much else in regards to that show. It's just all around a good show. I think that they've given Jeffrey a little bit more of a backstory this season, which I really like. I would really love to see him in anything other than a suit. I know that's his vibe, but does he wear regular clothes? I don't know. But yeah, that's really it. I probably do have a couple of nitpicky things that I would like to see, but I'm gonna wait for the season to end first before I fully give it a critique. So yeah, that's it for binge worthy. We're gonna move on to our next segment. Okay, so this segment is called My Moment. It's when I share kind of what I'm struggling with or what I'm going through in my motherhood journey. And now we just dive in. Last time we talked about tantrums and how I have learned to deal and discipline my kiddo with those. If you're interested also more on this topic, just let me know in the comments. We can chat about it more. I would love also advice is always welcome. But this is the one thing that I changed in our day-to-day life that has changed so much for me and for my kids. That thing is YouTube Kids. We no longer watch YouTube Kids. And now I'm not saying that there's anything inherently wrong with YouTube Kids. There are actually some very cool shows, very cute, cool educational finds on YouTube Kids. But what I've noticed is that my toddler was being overstimulated and he was displaying, if you will, some very concerning behavior for me. And that's kind of when I basically determined, like, okay, he's not ready for this platform yet. And I know they gear it towards kids and toddlers, and there's so much on there. But I just noticed that he was cranky. There was a lot of crankiness, there were a lot of tantrums, a lot of yelling. And if you know me, I'm a fairly mellow person. I can't deal with a lot of yelling. It drives my anxiety up. So so I just realized that the tablet time with YouTube Kids in the mix was more difficult for him to detach once screen time was over. And so now we've gone like 8 weeks without YouTube Kids, and his behavior has improved significantly. Like, even with the iPad, he will actually walk away from the iPad once he's played a few games and finished watching like the mom approved shows. So I have found that on YouTube Kids, it is hard to monitor the behaviors that he's observing with the vlog channels with older kids or skits that he can't really understand the nuances and the behavior yet. And don't get me wrong, he's still a toddler and he gets frustrated and gets passionate. He has big emotions, but there still has been a noticeable difference between the pre YouTube Kids era and now the post YouTube Kids era. So I think it's really important, especially in the early years where kids are keen on observing and mimicking behavior, to really take notice and direction with what they're exposed to and what they're influenced by. So that kind of just brings me to my question. What do you guys do as far as like apps, shows, platforms with your kids? And then how do you navigate getting to that like mom, parent approved list? Is it a conversation with your partners, with your caretakers? Like, how does that go for y'all? And what has been working for you? Next up on my list of things to taper down is TV time. So I'm really hoping that we can get to a point where our entire morning is screen free, because right now it's not. And that's okay. We just came out of having a third baby, so we needed, screen time to be a little bit more helpful for us to kind of transition into that. But I definitely, that is like next on my list is morning free, screen free time. I don't have an official name for it. Let's just call it what I'm into. So in this part of the show, I just like to share things that I've been using a lot, or I've been that have really like changed the details in my day-to-day life. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you already know there's certain essential things that help you get through the day easier, quicker, smoother, all of that. So that's kind of what I'll be sharing here, along with some other things that I just love as a person. I'm into oil cleanser. This is a facial skincare product I found in Target. It is called the Byoma Oil Cleanser. I'm not sure if you guys know what oil cleansing is. Basically, you're essentially washing your face with oil. I know it sounds odd, But if you have oily skin, apparently the best way to combat oily skin is to use oil. I don't know the science behind it. We could probably look it up. I could probably reference something in my show notes. But just roll with me on this one, okay? So I started oil cleansing maybe in like 2015, 2017. Okay, so I started oil cleansing in 2017 and I did it for like 3 years straight. It really helped balance my skin out. It also helped me feel like I wasn't overproducing oil, and then it also slowed down the acne and just like all of the impurities and blemishes that I used to get because my skin was so oily. So it kind of just helped me get back to like closer to the normal skin side of things. But anyway, this this cleanser is called, it's by a brand named Byoma. This is not sponsored at all. I just really liked their cleanser. I have tried a couple of oil cleansers before and have not liked them. This one I like, and it's fairly simple. They give you like, here's what to do first, here's what to do second, here's what to do last, and it's fairly straightforward. I love a checklist. So, okay, next up is it's so odd, you guys. Microfiber cloths. I know. Just roll with me on this one, okay? I really use a ton of paper towels every day, me, myself. And then on top of that, I have other people in my house who use paper towels as well. Some of them are younger children who don't really know what too much is. So I'm saying all this to say that I would really love to cut down on our paper towel consumption. And I think microfiber cloths are it for me. They work well on my hair. And they also work well to clean up messes. Okay, they're fairly easy to clean. They absorb really well. They they clean. Oh, they dry pretty quickly. You know, I don't know if you grew up in a house where your mama used rags, but the rags start to smell really like soon. You know, I have noticed if you consistently like rinse out your microfiber cloth fairly well, it doesn't smell as quickly. I think I'm switching. I think I'm going to opt for the microfiber cloths before a paper towel. Wish me luck, because my immediate brain is like paper towel, easy, throw it away, but also the earth. Now, my only qualm is that I would like to find microfiber cloths that are aesthetically pleasing. I'm going to do a deep dive on Amazon. If I find any, you already know where to look. Show notes. The Dawn Easy Squeeze bottle, I'm not going to make this long, is a game changer. Okay. I don't know why them flipping the bottle over has become so much easier, but it has. Okay. It has. And I urge you to try it. There's no spillage or anything, there's no leakage or whatever, but it is insanely handy and I recommend it for you. Also, quick tip, dilute your Dawn solution. Hear me out. Half water, half Dawn solution. It's going to change your life. Thank me later. I am a foodie cooker, and I do reference TikTok a lot when it comes to creating new food recipes and new things for my family to eat. So this week I am recommending 2 things to you guys: the sesame chicken, the homemade sesame chicken, because my husband challenged me one time to cook mall food at home, and I did, and they loved it. And then the second thing is, what is the second thing? The second thing is breakfast potatoes. I have tried so long and so hard to get breakfast potatoes. What is wrong with my lips? Breakfast potatoes to be nice and crispy, but like actually cooked in the middle. And I have failed and burnt so many potatoes, but this guy broke it down and it has a step in here that I just never considered. Dice the potatoes, boil the potatoes for a time, and then fry them in the skillet. It's a game changer. Your breakfast potatoes, if you like potatoes for breakfast, will now never be the same. You're welcome. Links are in the show notes. Okay. All right. This is the end, you guys. Thanks for joining me yet again for episode 2 of Mother Me Crazy. I appreciate you for listening. If you've made it fully to the end, hey, girl, guy, how you doing? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Also, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, consider leaving a review. 5 stars is preferable. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you found this video to be of any value to your life. Thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate you. I will see you in the next one. Bye.